Meghan was never my friend. She had an affair with my ex-husband, and I'm fed up remembering all the times she used me and dumped me when I was no longer useful.
Meghan was never truly my friend. The truth is, she was never what I thought she was. She had an affair with my ex-husband, and now, every moment I spent believing in her seems like a complete waste of time. I invested so much, emotionally, mentally, and even financially, thinking she was someone I could trust, someone who truly had my back. But the truth is, she didn't. Every memory of those years feels like an illusion, a series of moments manipulated to serve her interests. The worst part: I was too blind to see it for what it was until it was far too late. She used me when it suited her, and when I was no longer of value to her, she discarded me, without so much as a second thought. I'm sick and tired of remembering how she did this time and again. Every little instance, every small way she manipulated our connection, now feels like a dagger to the heart. Jessica Mulroney, who was once Meghan Markle's unwavering confidant, has finally broken her long-held silence. Their friendship, which was once so tightly woven and publicly visible, so adored by fans and scrutinized by the media, has now crumbled, and with it, the delicate facade of their bond. What seemed like a close-knit, unbreakable connection has turned into something darker, something that speaks of manipulation, betrayal, and a deep personal wound. This is more than a mere fallout. It's a reckoning that's long overdue. Jessica is done holding back. She's done trying to keep the peace and protect the image they once created together. Now, the words she's unleashing are raw, unfiltered, and direct, aimed squarely at the woman she once thought of as a sister. A sister in all but blood, perhaps, but certainly not in loyalty, not in honesty, and certainly not in friendship. Meghan was never truly my friend, Jessica is said to have confided in those closest to her. She slept with my husband, exploited our connection to climb higher, and then discarded me like I was nothing. When I became an inconvenience, when I no longer fit into her carefully crafted narrative, she threw me away. Everything, the friendship, the loyalty, the love, it was never real. It was all just a facade, a means to an end for her, and I was just the person she needed to use to get what she wanted. These aren't just bitter words from someone who's been hurt. These are the painful, painful truths that have been buried for far too long. What Jessica is revealing is a side of Meghan that no one could have ever imagined. The friendship that the public saw, the shared laughs, the Instagram posts, the vacations, the royal wedding, was never the whole story. What Jessica is saying now is that it was a friendship built on manipulation, deceit, and a dangerous level of self-interest on Meghan's part. Meghan's public persona, the compassionate, loyal, empowering woman who champions women's rights, who speaks out for equality, has been carefully constructed. But Jessica's account shatters that image, revealing a far more self-serving woman beneath the surface. She used me relentlessly, Jessica continues, her voice breaking with the weight of years of pent-up frustration and anger. She needed me when it suited her, when she needed connections, when she needed advice, when she needed someone to help her navigate the world she was trying to break into. But the moment I became a liability, the moment I could no longer offer her anything of value, I was cast aside. I was just another piece in her puzzle, and once it was solved, I became irrelevant. These aren't just the words of someone who feels abandoned. They're the heart-wrenching truths that come with the realization that everything you thought you knew about someone was a lie. Jessica's trust was shattered. The years she spent investing in this friendship now seem like a lifetime of misplaced faith. She sees now that her bond with Meghan was built on one-sided effort and hidden agendas. For Meghan, their connection was always a tool, a way to climb higher in society, to secure more opportunities, to maintain her own image as someone who was beloved by all. At first, Jessica didn't see it. She didn't want to see it. She believed in Meghan wholeheartedly as she had once been a friend, someone who would always be there for her. But now, in the aftermath of everything, Jessica can see the signs clearly. Meghan's ambition always came first, and Jessica and her loyalty was simply a pawn in a much larger game. What the public saw as a picture-perfect friendship was, in reality, a manipulation that stretched across years. Their friendship was carefully curated for public consumption. They vacationed together, shared their personal stories with one another, and even worked together professionally. Jessica styled Meghan for roles on screen, and as Meghan's career rose, so did their public displays of affection. They seemed inseparable, and to the outside world it looked like the ultimate friendship. But now, as Jessica reflects on the past, she realizes that it was all one-sided. Meghan took everything from their connection: emotional support, professional access, social credibility, and gave little in return. When the spotlight shifted, when Meghan no longer needed Jessica's help to maintain her public image, she vanished. No calls, no texts, nothing. Just silence. The summer of 2020, amid the global push for racial justice, was the turning point. Jessica, already facing personal difficulties, found herself accused of exhibiting problematic behavior rooted in privilege. The backlash was swift, the damage profound. Her television gigs vanished, her brand deals dried up. Meghan, who had positioned herself as an advocate for equality, distanced herself immediately. Jessica was left to navigate the storm alone, without the support of the woman she had once confided in, who had once shared everything with her. Instead of offering a hand, Meghan vanished, and Jessica was left to pick up the pieces of her broken world, alone. This is when Jessica began to question everything. Where was the friend who had once promised to stand by her? Where was the loyalty she had given so freely, the emotional support that Meghan had once depended on? Instead, she found nothing but silence. Meghan had built her platform on speaking out for others, on standing up for the marginalized. Yet when Jessica needed her the most, Meghan was nowhere to be found. This distance grew over time, and as Jessica's personal struggles deepened, so did the rift between the two. The whispers began, a suspicion that grew louder with every passing day. There were rumors of late-night phone calls and shared moments with Ben, Jessica's husband, that blurred the line between friendship and something far more dangerous. Jessica couldn't ignore the mounting evidence anymore, and the betrayal was too much to bear. Jessica now sees the past for what it truly was, a carefully manipulated connection that served Meghan's ambitions at the cost of their friendship. She trusted Meghan, poured everything into their bond, but in the end, Meghan used her as a stepping stone. And when that step was no longer useful, she cast Jessica aside without a second thought. This isn't just a disagreement between former friends. It's a betrayal that cuts so deep it threatens to unravel the carefully crafted, meticulously curated public persona of a duchess who has long positioned herself as the victim of circumstance, the one who's always been wronged by the world around her. Meghan Markle has spent years spinning a story of resilience, of rising above the odds, of being the victim of systemic injustice. But now, Jessica Mulroney, once Meghan's loyal confidant, has finally found her voice. And with it, she is determined to expose the cracks in Meghan's polished exterior, cracks that have long been hidden behind the facade of friendship and public support. For years, the world watched in awe as Meghan and Jessica's friendship appeared to embody the epitome of loyalty, trust, and unwavering support. From the glamorous film sets in Toronto to the fairy tale chapels of Windsor, their bond was portrayed as the epitome of cross-continental sisterhood. They vacationed together, laughed together, celebrated each other's achievements. Meghan's rise to fame seemed to further solidify the strength of their relationship. From her acting career to her eventual royal marriage, Jessica was by her side, proudly supporting her friend every step of the way. Their bond, so visible to the public eye, appeared to be one of mutual admiration and respect. It looked like a perfect friendship, one that many admired, perhaps even envied. To the outside world, it seemed like the kind of connection that could withstand anything, powerful, unwavering, and built on shared ambition and goals. But now, as Jessica navigates the emotional wreckage of her own split from her husband, the gloves have finally come off. No more silence. No more protecting the image of the woman she once called her sister. The painful truth is emerging, one that could shake the public's perception of Meghan to its core. The truth is, the pain that Jessica feels now runs much deeper than anyone could have ever imagined. The public was shown one side of their friendship, a side that seemed warm, supportive, and full of mutual affection. But now, insiders are revealing what was really happening behind the scenes. What was once a seemingly solid bond of friendship has turned out to be something much darker, an intricate web of calculated moves, hidden agendas, and the slow erosion of trust that Jessica had placed in someone she thought would always be there. Beneath the surface, Jessica had been silently bearing the weight of deep emotional pain that Meghan never seemed to notice or perhaps didn't care to acknowledge in her relentless pursuit of personal gain. Jessica's explosive account of their friendship now serves as a stark contrast to the narrative Meghan has carefully crafted over the years. Meghan has built an empire on the story of an underdog, a woman who overcame adversity and broke free from a stifling system. She has positioned herself as a beacon of hope, a champion for women, a voice for the marginalized. But what Jessica is now revealing threatens to expose a very different Meghan, a woman who has carefully used those around her to climb higher, regardless of the cost to their hearts or their lives. The carefully constructed image of Meghan Markle as a woman who triumphed against the odds is being cracked open, revealing the manipulation, the lies, and the ruthless ambition that have fueled her rise. For Jessica, this is not just about feeling betrayed. This is about the realization that the friendship she thought was solid, genuine, and rooted in mutual trust was nothing more than a calculated transaction from the very beginning. Jessica's love, loyalty, and trust were used to advance Meghan's career and status, only to be discarded once she had no more use for them. In the pursuit of her own goals, Meghan manipulated Jessica into believing they were equal partners in this journey, when in reality, Jessica was a pawn in Meghan's grand game. "She used me," Jessica is said to have expressed with quiet yet seething anger. "She needed me when it suited her, when she needed connections, when she needed advice, when she needed someone to help her navigate her rise. But the moment I became an inconvenience, when I became a liability in her carefully controlled narrative, she dropped me. It wasn't about friendship or loyalty. It was about what I could provide for her, and once that value diminished, so did she." These words aren't just the bitter ramblings of someone who has been hurt. They are the painful, undeniable truths behind the collapse of a relationship that was once considered sacred. The more Jessica reveals, the clearer it becomes that the friendship was never what it appeared to be. Meghan's charm, her ability to form connections, her natural social grace, all of it was used to create an image that the world could buy into. But beneath that image was a woman who was willing to burn bridges and use others as stepping stones to get where she wanted to go. What Jessica is sharing now is a devastating revelation. The friendship that the world thought was built on mutual respect, support, and loyalty was actually a carefully orchestrated performance. It wasn't a two-way street. It was a one-way path paved with manipulation and ambition. And Jessica, despite her deep loyalty, was left behind the moment Meghan achieved what she wanted. The relationship that was once celebrated as the pinnacle of friendship was, in fact, a hollow facade. As Jessica looks back on the years she spent by Meghan's side, she sees the truth clearly now. The late-night calls, the shared vacations, the emotional support, they were all part of Meghan's master plan. But when Jessica's own personal struggles arose, when her marriage began to falter and her own career faced setbacks, Meghan disappeared. She was nowhere to be found when Jessica needed her the most. Silence, abandonment, the sudden, unfeeling absence of someone who had once called her family. And that's when Jessica began to question everything. Where was the Meghan who had once confided in her? Where was the woman who had promised to stand by her, no matter what? Instead, there was nothing but silence. The walls that Meghan had so carefully built around her image became impenetrable, and Jessica was left to pick up the pieces of her life alone. But the pain goes even deeper than just emotional abandonment. Jessica is now revealing that the betrayal was far more insidious. In the midst of her own personal turmoil, she discovered that Meghan had crossed a line, one that could never be undone. Jessica alleges that Meghan, in a moment of calculated opportunism, slept with her husband. The affair was not a fleeting mistake. It was a deliberate act, one that shattered Jessica's world in ways she could never have anticipated. Meghan had crossed from friend to betrayer, exploiting the very relationship she had worked so hard to cultivate. Jessica's anger is no longer a quiet whisper. It is a roar of frustration and sorrow. Meghan's actions, her calculated manipulation of everyone around her, including Jessica, have left deep scars. This wasn't just about a friendship falling apart. It was about the shattering of trust, the violation of something sacred that Jessica had believed in. And now, Jessica is ready to reclaim her story, to reveal the truth that Meghan has worked so hard to keep hidden. This wasn't a sudden betrayal. It was years in the making, quietly simmering beneath the surface. Jessica had been carrying the weight of it in silence, unwilling to fully confront the magnitude of the deception. But now, with her marriage shattered and her career still grappling with the aftermath of public scrutiny, Jessica has finally found the courage to speak her truth. By doing so, she is revealing the dark side of a friendship that the public once believed to be pure, genuine, and built on mutual respect. Let's rewind to the beginning, to a time when everything appeared seamless, almost enviable. Meghan Markle, a driven and ambitious actress, carving out a name for herself in Toronto's television world, crossed paths with Jessica Mulroney, a stylist deeply embedded in Canada's elite social circles. Their connection was immediate, their chemistry undeniable, a shared passion for fashion, fitness, and empowering women. They seemed like the perfect pair, two women destined to support each other in a competitive and challenging industry. But Jessica wasn't just any friend. She came from a prestigious family, the daughter-in-law of a former prime minister, married to Ben Mulroney, a prominent broadcaster whose family was entrenched in political and media circles. For Meghan, always a savvy networker, this was more than just a friendship, it was an opportunity. Through Jessica, Meghan gained access to a world of influence and power, a world that could open doors to higher echelons of society, doors that would give her the kind of access and credibility she had longed for. What started as a friendship quickly began to feel like a carefully crafted alliance. Their bond grew stronger as they spent time together. They vacationed together, enjoyed shared brunches, and laughed over fashion tips and life advice. Jessica even styled Meghan for her role in a popular legal drama, helping to craft Meghan's on-screen image. As Meghan's star began to rise, so did their public displays of affection. Social media posts highlighted their connection, with Jessica frequently tagging Meghan in glowing tributes. It all looked so perfect. When Meghan's romance with Prince Harry blossomed, Jessica was reportedly one of the first to hear the news, receiving excited, late-night calls filled with details and joy. Her children played a prominent role in the royal wedding, a fairy tale event that solidified their friendship in the public eye, cementing it as a symbol of cross-continental loyalty. But as the saying goes, things are never as perfect as they appear. Beneath the polished surface of their friendship, there were early signs of imbalance. Jessica provided introductions, styled Meghan's looks, and offered unwavering emotional support during Meghan's transition into the public spotlight. In return, Meghan offered exposure, elevating Jessica's profile through their association, presenting Jessica as a close, trusted friend in the media. Yet, what the public didn't see were the whispers, the subtle undertones that suggested Meghan's approach was far more calculated than it seemed. Meghan didn't just need Jessica as a friend, she needed her connections. Jessica's family prestige was a valuable asset. Her ties to political and media power could solidify Meghan's credibility in Canadian society, opening doors that might otherwise remain closed. Ben's connections were especially valuable. His family's long-standing influence in politics and the media could smooth Meghan's path to fame, ensuring that she wouldn't just rise in Hollywood but in global society. To the outside world, their bond appeared reciprocal, two women, both successful and ambitious, working together toward mutual success. But in hindsight, Jessica sees the dynamic differently. While she gave and gave, offering emotional support, friendship, and even professional guidance, Meghan was calculating her every move, using Jessica's connections as stepping stones to advance her own career. Jessica began to realize that what she had viewed as a friendship built on mutual affection and shared dreams was, in fact, an alliance in which she was an asset, nothing more. Meghan needed her for the connections, the status, the legitimacy. As Meghan's career continued to rise, Jessica began to notice the subtle shifts in their dynamic. Where once there had been laughter and shared vulnerability, there now seemed to be a growing distance, one that Meghan seemed eager to exploit. Jessica had unknowingly become a pawn in a much larger game, a game Meghan was playing to solidify her place in a world that was, at best, unfamiliar to her, and at worst, threatening. The more Meghan advanced, the more she seemed to distance herself from the very people who had helped her along the way, Jessica included. It wasn't long before the realization set in. Their friendship had always been unequal. Jessica had been a stepping stone for Meghan's ascent, someone to lean on until she no longer needed her. As soon as Meghan found her footing, as soon as she rose above her roots and secured a position in royal circles, Jessica was discarded. She had been used just as Meghan had used everyone around her to get ahead. Now, looking back, Jessica sees the full extent of the manipulation. The late-night calls, the shared vacations, the moments of support, none of it was ever as genuine as it seemed. Meghan had strategically woven Jessica into her life, using their bond to gain access to valuable social and professional circles. What appeared to be a friendship built on shared values and common goals was, in reality, a one-sided transaction that benefited Meghan far more than it ever benefited Jessica. But even as she sees the truth now, Jessica is left with a profound sense of loss. A loss not just of friendship, but of trust, of loyalty, and of years spent believing in something that was never truly there. Meghan's rise wasn't just about ambition. It was about using the people around her to climb higher, to secure a place among the elite, without any regard for the cost to those she left behind. Jessica's realization is painful but necessary. She had been blinded by her loyalty to someone who never truly had her back. But now, as she reflects on everything, on the sacrifices she made, the trust she gave, she understands that their friendship was never what it appeared to be. It was a carefully orchestrated performance, a means to an end for Meghan, and Jessica had been one of the key players in that performance, unknowingly supporting someone who would later betray H. Meghan leaned heavily on the Mulronys, attending events, leveraging their expansive network, and using their status for her own professional gains. But as Meghan's ambitions soared, so did the imbalance in their friendship. What once seemed like a mutually beneficial relationship, a meeting of minds and shared goals, slowly began to tip in Meghan's favor. Jessica, ever the loyal friend, didn't see it coming. She trusted Meghan as family, opened her heart without hesitation, invested countless hours of support, and devoted her energy to helping her rise. But little did she know, the foundation of their friendship was shakier than it appeared, built not on mutual respect and care, but on sand, ready to collapse as soon as Meghan found a higher rung on the ladder of her ambitions. The turning point wasn't dramatic. It wasn't loud or explosive. It arrived quietly beneath the surface, creeping in over time. It was in the summer of 2020, a time when the world was gripped by the calls for racial justice and reckoning. Amid the wave of change, Jessica found herself accused of exhibiting problematic behavior, rooted in privilege, a label that carried with it swift and unforgiving consequences. The backlash was immediate, damaging her reputation, costing her television gigs, and leading to the loss of several brand deals. Meghan, who had long branded herself as a champion for social justice and equality, distanced herself almost instantly, a cold silence taking the place of the ally she once promised to be. This was the moment that Jessica began to question everything. She had always been there for Meghan, offering her unwavering support through the ups and downs, sharing her heart, her home, and her professional expertise. But when Jessica needed Meghan the most, where was she? Why had Meghan, who had once confided in her about everything, who had shared secrets, dreams, and ambitions, turned away when Jessica found herself in turmoil? The silence from Meghan wasn't just a cold shoulder. It was a chilling reminder of how disposable she had become once she could no longer serve Meghan's needs. Jessica had been loyal, patient, and supportive, but now, that loyalty felt hollow. As the silence from Meghan lingered, Jessica was forced to face the uncomfortable truth. The friendship she had poured her soul into wasn't real, not in the way she had believed it to be. And this was only the beginning of the unraveling. The rift between them didn't stop there. It went much deeper. According to sources close to Jessica, tensions had been brewing for months, fueled by personal matters that had stayed hidden from the public eye. Jessica's marriage to Ben, once a picture of stability, was under strain, and Meghan's involvement in their personal life became a growing point of contention. Whispers began to circulate, stories of late-night conversations and private gatherings, where boundaries between friendship and something more blurred. Jessica reportedly confronted Meghan privately, seeking the truth behind the growing distance, but Meghan's response wasn't one of accountability. Instead, it was a deflection, a dismissal of Jessica's concerns that only deepened the growing rift between them. Now, with Meghan firmly focused on her new life in California, it seemed as though everything Jessica had given her, her time, her trust, her loyalty, was just part of a much bigger plan. Meghan seemed more concerned with protecting her carefully constructed image than with mending the relationship that had once been so important to her. Jessica felt used and discarded, a stepping stone on Meghan's path to fame and fortune, someone who had given everything without ever receiving the same in return. As Meghan's career skyrocketed, leaving Jessica behind in the dust, the personal betrayal became impossible to ignore. When Jessica reflects on everything, she sees the royal wedding as the pivotal moment, the moment everything began to fall apart. The wedding, once a joyous occasion that solidified their friendship in the eyes of the world, has since become a painful reminder of how their bond had been manipulated. Jessica's children were part of the bridal party, proudly playing a role in the fairy tale event that seemed to solidify her place in Meghan's world. But when Meghan chose to step back from royal duties, Jessica was left exposed. Her reputation, once closely tied to Meghan's glittering royal persona, was now entangled in the aftermath of Meghan's controversies. This wasn't just a professional fallout. This was personal, deeply personal. The betrayal Jessica felt went beyond emotional abandonment. It wasn't just the loss of a friend. It was the erosion of a part of herself that she had invested so much into. As if that wasn't enough, sources close to Jessica now reveal that Meghan's betrayal went even further than anyone could have imagined. According to Jessica, Meghan didn't just emotionally abandon her. She also had an affair with Jessica's husband, Ben Mulroney. The revelation, if true, would shatter the illusion of their friendship and add a devastating layer to the betrayal. This wasn't just a fleeting rumor. It was something much more significant. The affair, if proven, marks a dramatic shift in the narrative. What once seemed like a mutually supportive, shared journey between two women now looks like a calculated scheme. Meghan's actions, if these claims hold weight, crossed ethical boundaries. What was once a friendship based on shared ambitions and mutual respect is now under scrutiny as a manipulative relationship designed to help Meghan climb higher in social and professional realms. The impact on Jessica's personal life has been immense. Her marriage has been rocked by this betrayal, and the emotional damage is undeniable. The affair, combined with the loss of her friendship, has left Jessica in a state of profound disillusionment. She has been forced to confront the fact that she wasn't just an innocent bystander in Meghan's rise. She was a pawn, a tool used to help Meghan reach her goals, only to be discarded when she no longer fit into Meghan's carefully constructed image. Now, Jessica is no longer silent. She has gathered evidence to support her claims, texts, messages, overheard conversations that back her version of events. She has shared these details with legal advisors, not because she wants immediate action, but because she needs protection against any counter-narrative that Meghan may try to spin. This is no longer about revenge. It's about reclaiming her story, taking back control of a narrative that Meghan has controlled for too long. The fallout from these revelations has already begun to spread, and the full extent of the damage remains unclear. If Jessica's accusations gain traction, the consequences for Meghan could be seismic. The carefully constructed image of Meghan as a champion of equality, a woman who left royalty to pursue her own truth, could be torn apart. The business ventures, the philanthropic efforts, and even her marriage to Prince Harry, all of it could come under new scrutiny, with questions raised about Meghan's true character. Jessica, now emboldened by the end of her marriage and the slow but steady rebound of her career, is no longer willing to remain silent while Meghan's polished image continues to be elevated by the media. It's not about revenge. It's about reclaiming her narrative, exposing the truth, and shining a light on the friendship that Meghan has worked so hard to sanitize. This isn't just idle gossip. This is a structural shift. Jessica's story questions the lengths people will go to for power, status, and self-preservation. Meghan may have crafted a public image of resilience and advocacy, but behind closed doors, the reality is much different. Jessica's story, once suppressed, is now being told, and the public will have to decide which version of events they believe. The world is now waiting to see what Jessica will do next. Will she go public with all the details, exposing everything? Or will she allow the whispers to continue, eroding Meghan's image piece by piece? Either way, the narrative has already shifted, and the truth, once hidden in the shadows, will soon be impossible to ignore.